Would you believe that this is my 100th Flosstube video? Not counting Flosstube extras and Thrift With Me videos and all the other things. This is my 100th official Flosstube. And I know it feels like I should be doing something significant to mark the milestone, but I can't do that this week. I'm Michelle. This is my romantic tangle. It is April 1st, 2021. And like I just said, this is my 100th of these videos. And I got stuff to show you. First up, first evening in their own home, or first night. I will at some point figure out the title of this massive project that I am stitching on. I didn't get a lot of stitching done last week because reasons, but I did fill in the man's suit jacket here. And I always talk about loving the way that shading works in these projects. And I always talk about how much stitching with white makes me crazy. White is nothing compared to black. See if that will show up here. The shading on this man's suit jacket is fabulous once you step back a little bit for it so that you can see it. While you're actually stitching it, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I was really questioning the process. One symbol is 2 strands of this and 1 strand of this. Adjacent symbol is 2 strands of this and 1 strand of that. So I was stitching a lot with colors that were nearly identical and making myself crazy. And it is definitely worth the effort. And honestly, this is not a big chunk of stitching. We're talking a couple of evenings of hassle for an effect that I just am tickled pink by. And I mean, the shading in her skirt, I love shading with solid floss. It is one of my favorite things about counter cross stitch these days. And the effects that the designer created in this piece, I am just super thrilled with it. I also did a tiny bit of stitching on Noise of Waterfall. I think it might just be that blue up there. After telling you in my last video about how good I was being at keeping track of my floss cards, the green that I needed to fill this in, that card was gone. I tore apart the couch, I tore apart my sewing bag, I looked everywhere, and found it 2 days later in the wood stacked by the fireplace. I suspect teenage boys. I don't know who or why or how, but that's my theory. I don't think the cat did it. I finished the socks that I showed you in the last Flosstube update, and I talked in that one about how I'm looking at these as kind of throwaway projects. Something I'm just doing to keep my hands busy with no pressure on myself at all to finish them or to wear them. I like knitting socks. And so over the past 2 weeks, I started another pair. And I'm a little more than halfway through the first sock. I went to the Dollar Tree after my decision about these little throwaway projects. And I gave myself permission to look at the yarn racks and pick out the colors that I thought were kind of springish. Now, whether these colors are springish or not, I'm not going to debate you on. They're the colors that looked good and appropriate to me for a sunny day out of the colors they had there on the rack at the Dollar Tree. I might have made different choices if I had had a different yarn selection in front of me. Regardless, I like these colors. I'm going to knit socks with them. Or maybe I'll get caught up doing something else and I won't knit socks with them, and that is fine. This is a low pressure, keep my hands busy thing. I talked in the last video about having the rug ripped out from under me as far as my plans go. A couple hours after I filmed that video, my husband called me, told me some vacation time he had not been expecting to get had been approved, and he was going to work 3 more days be on vacation for 2 weeks. So I scrambled while he was working his graveyard shifts to get content up here on the channel, and my ducks in a row with the house, and we have spent the past 2 weeks just being on vacation around the house. It was nice. We went on lots of drives, lots more bird watching, watched old movies on TV. It was fun. It was, if I had known it was coming, I would have planned my schedule a little differently, but there wasn't much stitching going on and very little knitting, and that was not a bad thing. There are weeks when I stitch until I'm sick of stitching, and there are weeks that I wish I could be stitching but was doing something else, and there are weeks like last week when I'm having too much fun to fuss about whether I got time to stitch or not. My daughter and I went thrifting yesterday as a belated birthday outing. Thrifting the past few months has been dismal. I will go into 3 or 4 stores and not even see anything that motivates me to take my camera out of the pocket of my jeans. There has just not been anything out there. Her and I went down to Eugene. We went to a ton of different thrift stores. Some I'd been to before, some I had not. Found a thing that we almost both screamed in the thrift store. We don't scream in the thrift store. We don't make spectacles of ourselves, but we spent a great deal of time drooling over the first thing and then the thing that was next to the thing, and I always love it when I find something I wasn't looking for or didn't know I was looking for. It'll be my next video, and I couldn't bring it home with me, but it's going to make for a heck of a story and a heck of a thumbnail. And then she found something for me. You know how out of the corner of your eye at the thrift store you see the vintage needlepoint stitches? I saved the stitches. I love vintage needlepoint landscapes. I don't know why. There's got to be like something in a previous life or something in early childhood that I don't remember, because I am drawn to scenes like this. And I don't find them very often, and when I do, they're not cheap. Guys, $6. I could not leave this in the store for $6. Someday I'm going to have a gallery wall full of this stuff. I don't know if it's going to be all stuff I've stitched or all stuff I have saved from the thrift stores or a combination or what, but I am so giddy about this thing. It is not in up close. It's a little dusty. It's a lot worn. I wish there was a name or a date or something here on the back, but there's not. Actually, there is a name, Charlotte Casey. So maybe she's the one who stitched it. I would assume she is the one who stitched it. I wish she had dated it. But I will take what I can get. And I think that because it's got the craft paper on the back, I am going to write what date I bought it and what thrift store and what I paid for it. Just memories fade. And there may be some point in the distant future when grandchildren or great-great-grandchildren are cleaning out Michelle's house and don't know what she stitched and what she didn't. So as bad as I am about labeling my own work or anything else, I think I'm going to start labeling the Save the Stitches stuff. Just someone at some point in the future might want to know where it's been. I am still waiting for the kits I ordered for my birthday. It is too soon to be here. I know it is too soon to be here. I think their delivery time says 20 days, and that probably does not include current events. And it is day 20 now, so there is no reason for me to be impatient, but it is so hard to be patient. And I saw that the Sorcerer's Wagon, or the Sorcerer's Journey, or whatever that new realist kit is called, is now available on mybobbin.com, and the price was a complete and utter shock in a good way. So I'm going to sit on my hands and tell myself that I cannot order another cross-stitch kit before the 8 that I'm waiting for get here, especially not when I am stalking Hobby Lobby for their annual cross-stitch sale. I will be good. But as soon as I have an excuse to make an order, I'm ordering that kit. Let me know what you're up to. Have you been stitching? Have you found stitches to save? Have you been coveting new kits that were just released? It is a glorious day outside, so as soon as it warms up just a hair more, I'm going to open up all my windows. I wanted to film this before I did that so you can hear less trucks in the background. I'm Michelle. This is my Romantic Tangle. Thank you for watching, and within the next couple of days, look for that first Thrift With Me video because I think it's going to be a fun one. I wound up with more than an hour of footage, and yesterday I edited it down into what will be 3 Thrift With Me videos, all of them with neat stuff that I can't wait to share with you. And hopefully that will keep me going until I find another neat store with even more neat stuff. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.